Today on Southern Keto, you are in for a treat, literally. One of my favorite treats is the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. And if you've never had one before, you're probably like Rip Van Winkle just waking up from a 100-year nap. And if so, welcome. Welcome to the future. The future's great because we can have all the treats that we love, but without the sugar. And I'm gonna show you one of my favorites today. Not only the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, but you probably remember this.
One day, many years ago...
Taste this. Chocolate and peanut butter. Hey, it's great together. You know who'd like this? Noah.
You mean the guy building the ark?
Yeah, because he loves chocolate and he loves peanut butter.
Let's bring him some. As soon as it stops raining.
And so the world would have to wait for the two great tastes that taste great together in Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
And you probably remember this.
Champ Charlie Armstrong eats a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's.
I feel like this is one of my best recipes that exactly replicates the original, but without all the nasty ingredients. You'll be able to pronounce all this stuff. It has no sugar, and it's absolutely delicious. So let's talk about these Reese's Peanut Butter Cup bars. This is one of our go-to treats or desserts, I guess you'd say, for us. We make these a lot. And I'm telling you, once you try it, it's gonna be one of your favorites too. And it's super easy. It's one of those things even I can make. So if I can make it, anybody can make it. Now this recipe captures not only the taste, but the texture, the mouthfeel, and that nice glossy chocolate covering. Oh man. So let's get right into it. Let me show you what you're gonna need to put together Reese's Peanut Butter Cup Bars. The first thing you're gonna need is some chocolate. Now you can either use a Lily's baking bar or you can use chips like this. This is about a half cup. And if you actually wanna make these into peanut butter cups, I'll link the video up top and in the description to show you how to do that, and you'll need a little more chocolate for that. The next thing you're gonna need is some peanut butter powder. Now this is what gives it the perfect consistency and mouthfeel in the middle. And you don't have to get the name brand. I get this one at Walmart and it works just great. The next thing you're gonna need is some natural peanut butter. Now make sure you look at the ingredients because they stuff a lot of seed oils into these. This is just the peanuts and salt. I would definitely recommend using smooth peanut butter for the right texture, but I had the chunky on hand, so that's what I used. Always use what you got. The next thing you're gonna need is some pure vanilla extract. Now, you know by now, use the real vanilla extract because only you can help save the beavers. And then you're just gonna need some powdered sweetener or confectioner's sweetener. If you don't have this on hand, but you've got some other sweetener, just throw it in the blender for a little bit until it becomes a powder, and you've got it. The next thing you're gonna need is some salt. Either use Redmond's real salt or the pink Himalayan. You're gonna need a stick of butter and a half. So just make sure you get a good quality butter like this Kerrygold or the grass-fed from Aldi. And you're gonna need some coconut oil. Now you could use all butter if you don't have coconut, but this gives it that glossy look on the top. And before you freak out, you can look down below in the description. I've got all the amounts written out right there for you so you don't have to follow along. First thing we need to do is melt our butter. So I'll take all the butter, I'm gonna put it in a microwave safe bowl. I'm gonna throw it in the microwave for about 45 seconds, and I'm just gonna check it along the way and make sure that it doesn't pop or catch on fire. Now I'm gonna measure out my peanut butter, and you're gonna need 3/4 of a cup of this. And if you don't use a fancy little measuring container to try to be cool in a video, you probably won't spill all that on the side like that. But just measure out 3/4 of a cup. I needed a little snack anyway, so there we go. I'm gonna make sure I cleaned it up real good. And hey, if you wanna spill a little bit on purpose or just eat a little bit right out of the jar, hey, that's your prerogative. I ain't judging nobody. Now that all that stressful measuring is over, I'm just gonna put it into the bowl because this also, I'm gonna put in the microwave for just a few seconds, just to kind of get it a little bit soft because we're gonna mix that together with that melted butter in just a minute. So I'm gonna put this on 30 seconds That should be perfect. And then we'll go on to the next step. If you like keto desserts and keto treats, make sure you subscribe to my channel right now here. Hit the bell beside it. Anytime I do a treat video, a dessert video, or anything else, you're gonna know about it. So the next thing you wanna do is add all that softened peanut butter to your melted butter mixture. And then we're just gonna combine it all together and get it nice and smooth. And when you're done combining it together proper, it should be very, very liquidy. I know it seems weird, but trust me, this is what you want. It's gonna be like a soup. Then we're gonna go ahead and add in our pure vanilla extract. And then I'm gonna go in with the sweetener. Now you can add just a little bit. Once you get done with this step, you can taste it and make sure it's as sweet as you want it to be. You can always add a little bit more. I feel like this is a good amount and it gets the taste right. But just combine everything together, make sure it's nice and smooth, and then make sure you put the salt in. I know you may think it's a weird thing to put salt in something sweet, but it really brings out the sweetness, and you don't have to use as much sweetener if you put salt in there. The next thing we're gonna do is mix in the peanut butter powder. Now this is what's gonna give it the consistency that you want. It is absolutely delicious. And this is just a good ingredient to use anyway. Now you're gonna see why you wanted that peanut butter and that butter so liquidy, because this peanut butter powder is just gonna make like a dough. Once you start combining this together, it's gonna come together really, really thick. And that's what you want for this recipe. But if you don't have it liquidy to begin with, you're not gonna get this consistency that you want, and you're not gonna have the proper Reese's peanut butter cup bars. This is what it should look like when it comes together. It is thick and it is delicious. Now you're gonna just take that dough and basically push it down as much as you can. Make sure you fill in all the corners of your glass container. It's very important that you use glass so it comes out right. And I'll put a link to the ones I use down in the description in case you don't have any. The most important thing with this step is to get it as flat as you can, all the way across so it makes an even layer. I'll show you what it looks like when you don't in just a few minutes, because I didn't do it like that. I didn't get it quite flat enough, and you'll see why. Now, they're still going to turn out fine if you don't, but just try to get it as flat as you can, and then go along the edges once you get done, and just kind of scrape it down like that. Get all that peanut butter down in there, and then we'll move on to the next step. Oh man, we're almost there now. Next thing we're going to do is just melt the coconut oil and butter, or just the butter if you choose to do it that way. I definitely recommend the coconut oil if you have it, but if you don't go out and buy it. It's just not going to be quite as shiny on top, but it's still going to turn out great. So just melt all that, and then once it's pretty melty, add your chocolate chips in and stir this constantly. You don't want to burn that chocolate. Man, this is going to make such a good topping for this. And just keep stirring that through until you get a nice melty consistency. The chocolate chips are fully incorporated, the butter and the coconut oil are all melted, and you get a nice liquid that's pourable. And now that those oils and chocolates are well acquainted in there, I'm just going to move over to where I've got that peanut butter dough sitting. And we're just going to pour this right on top. Oh man. Did somebody ask for some chocolate pouring music? And would you look at this little fool right here? He already found some peanut butter that I dropped on the floor and already scarfed it up. Now he wants more. Now once you've got that chocolate layer poured on top, this is what it should look like. Oh man, you see how shiny that is already? And it hasn't even been cooled and refrigerated yet. This is just the way it's come out so far. Let me show you the side of this, and you'll see why I said the flatter you get it, the better it is. Now, like I said, it's still going to be fine, but you know, if you want a good presentation, a little better than what I did anyway, make it as flat as you can. And now it's time to go into the fridge, where you can leave it for at least a couple hours, maybe a little longer if you got that kind of time, just as long as you can stand it until you gotta have some. After that time period's up, we're gonna go ahead and take these out, and we're gonna see what they look like. Oh, they good. Now let me show you how to take them out of your glass container. Once they're cool, it's not too hard to do. You can also use parchment paper in this if you want to. I just wanted to be able to show you the sides of this. A lot of times we will use parchment paper. It makes it super easy to take out. But if you don't, just take a knife and run it all the way along the edge of this until you go all the way around, and then just flip it over and it'll pop right out. And this is my favorite part. After you've done the work, and it's not much work, I mean, it's super easy. If I can do it, you can do it. But now it's time to cut these, because after that, you can eat them. So that coconut oil, if you don't let it sit quite long enough like that, you see how the fingerprints are on top? You can leave it a little longer and you won't have to worry about it. You can clean up the edges like that if you want to, and just go in, and we normally will cut this into 4s this way, or even 5 if you want to, depending on what kind of portions you want. If we cut them into 5 like she did here, I'm probably going to eat 2 of them, but hey, that's okay. I'm not going to judge you if you do it either. Just turn them the other way, cut them the same way, and you may lose a little peanut butter out of there until they sit in the fridge again and harden up, but hey, that's okay. That's a sample piece. You got to have samples, right? And just a tip, if you leave them in there a little bit longer in the fridge, they won't crumble quite as much, but hey, we were ready to eat these beauties, and when you make them, you will be too. Hope you enjoy. If you like this, check out this playlist right over here with a lot of other keto desserts and treats that you're sure to love. Thanks for sharing and liking my videos and all your comments. Make sure you leave me a comment when you make these and let me know if you love them as much as I do. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.